Well, welcome to this meeting of Thatcham Town Council on the 29th of January 2024. This meeting is being recorded for publication on the Thatcham Town Council YouTube channel, and I'm informed we have the camera in this direction this evening, so that's the view from which the public will view us this evening, should there be any public out there to view. So, yes, we will names like Item 1, apologies for absence, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Mayor, apologies received from Councillor Jeremy Cotton.
Thank you. Do we have any
apologies, Mr. Mayor, and from Councillor?
Thank you very much indeed. Any other apologies? No, thank you. Any declarations of interest? Excellent. Moving on to our item 3, where we're covering two matters under the Eco Friends banner, and we have invited Nikki Coombe from Eco Friends to address us this evening and to give us an update. And I think before we do that, I need to ask for a proposal to allow members. Councillor Jeffrey over here and Councillor Pike, so I take it that's proposed and seconded. Can I have all those in favour, please? Thank you very much indeed. So I'd like to invite Nikki Coombe, the chair of Eco Friends, to come up and give us an update. Haven't seen her since Saturday.
It's been a while, hasn't it?
Ripped plastic bags together. So,
yes, coming to that.
Over to you. So okay. Yeah, I mean we do have a camera up there as well as the people. And so
how would you like to work this? Do you want me to get through, or should I indicate, or how to? Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Right, so I'm Nikki Coombe. I'm the chair of Eco Friends West Berkshire. Getting Toby's at the back there. He's here to support and help me answer any questions you might have. Oh, okay. There we go. Oh, there we are. Sorry, that was it. That was it. I think it was the scroll wheel. There we are. Absolutely. So I'm just going to run through a few things with you today. One, who are Eco Friends, and why we're supporting plastic free communities. What we've done over the last year, but also what we plan to do this year, so you can sort of see what that's all about and get involved, hopefully, and how we can help each other. And I'll let you for any questions. Too quickly, okay. So who are Eco Friends? So we work with the West Berkshire Sustainable Community up until the middle of last year, so that you may well have heard of us, or you may not. But we found that was a bit of a mouthful. So we had a vote and we decided to change our name. So we came up with Eco Friends West Berkshire. We thought it was more catchy, more memorable. And that's where we stand today. So we've got two objectives. The first is to have plastic-free community status for both Thatcham and Newbury. And the second is to help the people of West Berkshire improve their circular economy, if you like, reducing their carbon emissions. And that's through, reducing, refilling, reusing, recycling, etc. So that's what we're looking at. And I'm going to talk mostly about the first one today, because that's the most important we're focusing on this year. So we believe that a lot of people are trying to be more eco-friendly. They're trying to reduce their packaging. They're trying to make the right decisions. But what we felt was, as a volunteer group, was that actually it was really difficult to work out which businesses, community groups, etc., were supporting that arena. And also on the flip side, that small businesses, community groups, etc., were also looking to do the right thing, but then struggling to communicate that out in a consistent way to their customers. So what we felt was that if we brought the two together and looked very much at the packaging side of things, and people trying to reduce their single-use packaging, then it's something that would spread throughout the ethos of that company. So we decided to look at the Surface Against Sewage plastic-free community status, which is recognised across the country. It's got over 900 sort of communities across the UK, and it does reward both small businesses, which are Plastic Free champions, and also sort of community groups such as schools, communications channels, larger businesses, franchises, anything that's not a small business in effect, with as a Plastic Free ally, and they all get rewarded with either a certificate or a wooden back on plastics. We currently have 53 champions and allies in Thatcham, which is fantastic. And actually, I think that's gone up to 54 because we recently have one approved. And I'll go into what that means a bit later. We do have 59 in Newbury, just to let you know. If you want to compete, get more areas signed up. So we're just basically giving people the knowledge and sharing that. So we want to really increase our visibility over the next year, which I'll go into in a bit more. Having Thatcham Town Council on board is fantastic, but that means I can mention that, and it's a really good sort of leverage to get our name out there. So thank you for your support. Oh, I'm right, sorry. We'll get used to the technology by the end of it. And then we'll go. So what does plastic free actually mean? So it's not completely plastic free. We do recognise that plastic is a necessary part of some of the, everyday life, and especially reusable plastics, it's very handy. But single-use plastics, we believe we can sort of get rid of a lot of them. And where Services Against Surge have identified a number of plastics that we can just really, I think, do without society. So plastic drinking bottles, disposable coffee cups, sachets, bathroom plastics, excessive food packaging, takeaway containers. Some of these items are being banned by law now, which is fantastic, but obviously they still exist in the environment, and our role is really to engage businesses and community groups to reduce that at that level, and then really not give customers the choice to make sure that they make the right decisions each time. Oh, no, wrong. I did it again. So these moves down. So just a few stats there with regards to plastics, if you're not aware of them. So less than 1% of the 2.5 billion coffee cups used in the UK each year are recycled. So just 1%. That's crazy, isn't it? Absolutely crazy. 28 wet wipes. I think wet wipes are really, really unnecessary. I found that per mile of beach, 93% of sewage blockers are made up of wet wipes. I mean, the amount of money that must be spent on unblocking sewage with 93% of wet wipes is crazy, absolutely crazy. So we use 38.5 million single-use plastic bottles every day, and that end up in landfill. So they never degrade. They might break down into smaller microplastics, but they're always there. Or they're burnt, which obviously releases chemicals into the environment. And plastic bag fragments last 100 to 300 years, depending on the thickness and size. So, that'll last us all multiple times. It's absolutely crazy. So, try and think of those stats. If you ever think, oh, well, just grab, actually, that's there forever. So there's just a few stats. And here's our objectives. So what Plastic Free Communities do is give us five objectives that we need to complete to get Plastic Free Community status and be able to call ourselves, have Plastic Free Community status, call ourselves that. So we need local governments in place. So we have a resolution supporting the journey. So we've done that as a group, of course. We need, is it 12 champions, Jenny? 12 champions, we've got 24. Brilliant. We need 30 allies, and we've literally just had the last one signed off last week. And we need 2 community events a year, which we've done. We've just done a mass unwrap at the co-op. So, getting those under our belts each year and making sure we prove that we're still going on those. And set up a steering group. So we have Justin and Tom on our steering group. So, and Newbury councillors, and we have also have, we'll go to a bit later, but we have all exchange, we have local businesses, A Plan on our board, etc., to make sure we're continuing to get that message out and really build on what we've done already. So as of last week, we're going for full approval, which is absolutely fantastic, and then we can say that we've done it, but we will obviously continue that journey to reduce the use of plastic and still keep those numbers increasing. Right, so just as a to indicate volumes, a lot of people say, well, what difference can I make? One bottle, what a real difference does that make? As Plastic Free Thatcham, we've got 24 champions, all have removed 3 types of single-use plastic, and that's removed 10,668 unique pieces of plastic from our environment every year. I mean, that's pretty good going. Newbury have removed a bit more, but that's only because the volumes of those individual items are a lot more. That's nearly 100,000. So we're over 108,000 pieces of plastic. So that's what, you know, a few people can do. It's a, you know, and to be honest, Jenny's done the vast majority of getting those people signed up. So if you want to know what one person can do, that's pretty much it, which is absolutely fantastic. But we need to carry on going. So 2024 and 2023, what we'd like to do is build on 23 and increase our visibility. So we did get in the Thatcham Town Council guide, and that was sponsored by Howden. So that's there. The Newbury Town Council, I sit on the Newbury Town Council Climate Emergency Working Group, and Jenny sits on the Thatcham Town Council Working Group. We were in our Surface Against Sewage blog, the little quote up there. We're also trying to get our champions and allies to support us a little bit more if they produce any literature, any communications, to actually put the logo in there, so it gets a little bit more out there and known. As I mentioned earlier, we do have our steering group. So I've just put a list there of who's on our steering group, so you can kind of see the types of people. We've got small businesses such as Posey London. We've got larger businesses and more knowns. We've got Thatcham Chamber of Commerce. We've got what else have we got? We've got the Corn Exchange. We've got Penny Post. We've got Ryvar Sand and Gravel. So we've got a really good mix of businesses, small and large, and you know, well known there. So that's what we want to increase on that in the next year. So we have also attended a number of events, and as I mentioned, we've just done the mass unwrap in the co-op, which I was shattered afterwards, so it must have gone okay. It was really good, so it was good fun. We didn't collect a huge amount of plastic. I think it was like 55. I think it was of single-use wrappers, and I think there was 6 of the harder plastics. That doesn't sound a lot, but actually, when you looked at the trolley, it looked so much more, and we engaged so many people, and that's what it was all about. It was all about that engagement and awareness and making people think, you know, do I really need this plastic? You know, do I really need to buy 4 lemons in a net, or could I just pick 4 off and put them in my bag? You know, it's just things like that. So we will feed that back to Surface Against Sewage, so they can add that into their stats, but we'll also feed that back to co-ops, so they can hopefully make some changes. And we've had Thatcham Photography Club there as well, and they took some fantastic photographs. So really good. Use that as well, which is great. So hopefully we'll get into that listing. We do plan, if we get accepted, to attend the Thatcham Family Fun Day later in the year as well. The events charter, I know we're going to discuss, it's the next agenda item, isn't it? But we've had that adopted in Hampton Norris Candlelit Market, so that was there. Hopefully we'll adopt it today. And I've also sent it over to Shaw House, Newbury Town Council, and the Corn Exchange too, hopefully, so we can almost have a larger impact with one charter, rather than having to go to individual businesses, market stallholders, etc. The charter is adopted, and that immediately gets sent out to all the attendees of any events, any markets, etc., which will reduce the single-use plastic. So the next thing is sort of help each other. So please continue to support us, adopt the events charter, I hope, and promote us as any literature and posters, etc., that we have. Continue supporting our monthly steering meetings, so thank you for that. Consider having maybe a single-use plastic audit. Jenny and I have been to the Newbury Town Council offices and done a single-use plastic audit there. Haven't had any feedback from that yet, but that was at the tail end of last year. And we found quite a few bits and pieces that are generally really good, but there are just a few bits and pieces that we've suggested to change. It's all a very good experience. And maybe consider adopting and promoting more water refill stations and gumdrop. Water refill stations obviously mean that people don't have to fill a plastic bottle, they can bring their own refill. And gumdrop is very much around somewhere for people to put their gum, as it says on the tin. And they're actually made out of old chewing gum. So it's quite an amazing thing to do. And the question is open really, is there anything else that we can do to help you or you to help us? So anything else?
Well, thank you very much, Nikki. That's really
any questions? Anything to do?
So I think first of all was Councillor Cousin.
I need to stand up first.
So I wouldn't. It's an important bit.
Thank you, Nikki. Very interesting presentation. So one of the thoughts I had looking at those stats was meal deals.
Oh, right, yes, yes.
And I would guess that there's probably a significant amount of disposable plastic single-use drink bottles in Tesco's, etc.
Absolutely.
The biggest producer of those is PepsiCo. And their head office is just down the M4, other side of the hill.
Yes, absolutely.
And I would imagine there's quite a few of their senior executives probably live in the West Berkshire area.
Yes, that's true.
So have you thought about lobbying them on the basis that using their corporate social responsibility to reduce the production of single-use plastics in their meal deals?
Yeah, and I mean, no, we haven't. Then specifically, I mean, yes, I mean, there's no reason why we couldn't. I think we started smaller.
If
lobbying sounds like a great idea, but if you open doors,
I don't have a point of contact. If you wish me to give to you, so you can lobby them.
I would.
Green
contact, yes, please. Contact's always handy. You need a way in. So thank you very much. Yes, please.
I'll forward it.
Thank you.
Brilliant, thank you. I think Councillor Brooks.
I think I'm just looking at a little bit of help. I've got three things, so take them in. Gum, I mean, some years ago, at District Council, we did a campaign about take your gum home with you.
Yeah.
Let alone, put it in a little box. Spitting it on the pavement still happens, and if you walk down Northwood Street, we'll be walking through it. It's just expensive to. I think all councils and organisations should be putting up, take it home with you.
Absolutely.
As well as dog poo, take that home, but I won't get them.
That's not under our banner.
My coffee cup from Costa. It does look like a plastic lid at the very least. So come back to me on that, please.
Yeah.
And I'm afraid with wet wipes.
Oh, yes.
And I'm sure we can find a way of not needing them, because I don't know if we need those. Well, one of the reasons we need them is so that people like me don't have continual nightmares about when I was a child. My mother would say, "You've got a dirty face, we're out on the street." She takes a tissue, spits it, tries to wipe my face. I think we seem to have moved on.
I hope we can.
Can we, not lose wet wipes in a different way? Perhaps you seem to be very against wet wipes. Don't wipe your toes. Yeah, there's lots of kids around with nightmares because it's
yeah.
Three questions for you.
Too flippant. Where shall I start? Coffee cups you mentioned, so plastic, sort of the coffee cup and the plastic lids. Absolutely, it doesn't need to be plastic. Plastic hard. I mean, preferably take your own. Is the reality. That's the best thing to do. Anything that we produce is produced from a carbon centric environmental lens. So taking your own is the better idea. Take it home, you wash it, you reuse it. Keep reusing is the answer. If you haven't got something with you, then absolutely they should be supplying cardboard lids, and they should be supplying, cardboard paper. I know Costa take any make of cup and lid and take it to recycle. Now, what we actually do with it, I don't know. So that's something for us to look into.
Gum and wet wipes.
Gum and wet wipes. So gum, yeah, I think it's a difficult one. I think the people aware that gum is made of plastic. I think some are and some aren't. And I think, it surprised me when I found out about it. Yeah, it's just plastic. That is what gum is. You can get more sustainable gum, but it's why it doesn't come off the streets. It's because it's a little bit of plastic.
It's why we don't swallow it.
Precisely, yeah. You can get more sustainable gum, but, it's difficult to find. So yeah, I think it's a difficult thing. It's a behaviour thing, isn't it? Like a lot of littering. I mean, it's littering at the end of the day. But I do think if there's something fun, and these gumdrop things are quite bright pink, they're in your face, they're quite good fun. Maybe that's a bit more likely to put it in there than you are to put it in your pocket. Piece of paper or whatever.
Wet wipes.
And wet wipes, plums.
Biodegradable.
I don't think there are such. I think that's a bit of greenwashing. Yeah, I don't think they actually biodegrade. If you put them in a bottle of water and shake them around for a while, there's still a wet wipe in there.
The other thing I'd say about wet wipes is the claims on the packaging about them being flushable.
Yeah.
And
absolutely rubbish.
they're not flushable.
No.
Even if you can get them around the U-bend,
Yeah.
they then bung up the sewers a little bit further on, and they're the main culprit.
Absolutely. Oh, they absolutely are.
If we
Yeah.
could get that terminology changed, then people would stop buying them.
Absolutely, yeah, it is greenwashing. There's a lot of greenwashing out there, and also if we say a flannel and something, you know, something like that. Tissue or a flannel and some water, and from a, you know, you take it home in your bottle. That's the same thing as well. I don't think they would.
I think you have the council. Oh, there's a Councillor Boyd, and then Councillor Stevenson.
Hi, Nicky.
Hello.
I saw that where legislation has said no more plastic knives and forks.
Yeah.
Isn't that really where it needs to be? I mean, I know that there are lots of groups, but as Councillor Cotton was saying, not Cottingham, Cotton, not here. You know, the big corporations, they need to be getting on board, and if all these groups that you've got around the country, if they were all to lobby the big companies, then perhaps that will help eradicate it.
And I think it needs more of those people on board. So Surfers Against Sewage do lobby, you know, not only for sewage and water companies, but they do lobby with regards to plastic as well. But I think a lot of whether it's supermarkets or whether it's producers, they'll say, well, you know, it's convenient, and that's what the customer wants. And the more we say, no, it's not what the customer wants, the more we have people signing up, the more that we have businesses rejecting and getting rewarded for rejecting single-use plastic, the more likely that that's just going to filter out and become part of, you know, who we are, isn't it? You know, the more we go in and pick up a single-use plastic bottle, the more they'll provide single-use plastic bottles. If you don't, they won't. There would be no demand. The supply won't be there.
Thank you.
Councillor Stevenson, and then Councillor Hart.
One positive and one negative. I'll do the negative first. I was horrified. I found out only probably 6 months ago that some tea bags are made of plastic.
Correct.
And I found them, of course, in my compost bin,
Yes.
undecomposed.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Horrifying. And why on earth are manufacturers bringing those in? Pathetic, really, isn't it?
Completely. And they are slowly getting through it, and you can get some. There is a website which we can send over to you, which does say which are plastic and which aren't. So that is updated. Get over to you.
Thank you. But the positive is blowing my own trumpet. For a year now, I have had milk deliveries.
Yeah.
In glass bottles. Plus it's oat milk, before you ask, Town Clerk. So avoiding dairy. Yeah, but they have to come from Kent, amazingly. So I have the Modern Milkman, and I think they deliver at about 4:30 a.m. They've never woken me. I don't know about my neighbours, but marvellous service.
Yes, and long way there.
And you can order and change your order up to within 24 hours.
Yeah.
I recommend them as an organisation. Of course, they have glass bottles, which I wash and return.
Absolutely. Well done. Thank you. I was approached during the week by someone from Hampshire who was doing a milk bottle product, which I'm trying on Thursday. So there are options maybe closer, because if you go all the way to Kent, with how much carbon you use to get. So the closer we can get it, the better.
Thank you very much, Councillor Hart.
Yeah, mine's more of an observation, and as Jenny knows, I've been knocking at a door in the sector, so you can have such and such. So yeah, I'm now using the washing the detergent and the liquid and the conditioner and comfort, but using an old bottle and it's just been refilled, and then gone on to washing up liquid, slowly going through your pack.
Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, no, and you know there are. I won't just talk about Jenny's, but you know there are obviously services there where you can refill, and the bottles you reuse and reuse and reuse, and the bottles that are, or the tubs that are, you know, that they are refilled from and sent back and, you know, reused and reused, and they do exist, you know, and that's I think where we need to go.
Yeah.
Just a comment about like the cost of living, and you know, people will go to Aldi to get obviously cheaper vegetables, etc., and they're not single. They're all multi packs in plastic packages.
Yeah.
And I can't criticise people for making that choice if their budget doesn't allow them to. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I believe, if I got it right, because I know that Aldi or Lidl, one of the two, have recently trialled a completely, let's call it old-fashioned system where you just had your fruit and veg out. So there is a plastic free trial going on with, I can't remember which one of the two it
You
is.
can buy quite a lot of loose vegetables in the door.
Maybe it was earlier. Yeah, but I mean, you know, that's, I don't know why they're not trying that more. And where I get frustrated is you go into different supermarkets and the packaging is slightly different. So the Co-op, for example, have clementines in a box, whereas everywhere else they have them in a bag. Well, where's the consistency? Why aren't they sharing these best practices? And, you know, really trying to roll those out. Because, yeah, you can't expect people to pay more. You just want better.
Oh, yes, sir.
Just a couple of more observations than anything else, I suppose. With regards to replacements for plastic cutlery and plastic straws, there feels like there still needs to be more work done on paper straws that melt in a cup, and bamboo cutlery that makes the food taste bad, but at least it's going in the right direction. And the gumdrops, I don't know if it's the same thing. I've worked at Heathrow and they used to have little things on the sides that you would put your gum on.
Yeah.
And then there was a company that would come and take it away and make things out of it.
Yeah, absolutely, yes.
So it's not just actually, they're not just taking it away.
No, they're not
throwing
putting it in landfill. No, they are making things.
Yeah, they're actually using it then to go on and make good from that too.
Yeah, and I think it's all an evolution, isn't it? We all need to get away from single-use plastics. The more we demand that we do, the more that things will be created, evolved, you know, created. And we can do a lot of things. I'm sure we can get away from single-use.
Well, I'm sure Thatcham can do their.
I'm sure you
can.
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
Thank you very much indeed, Nikki. I mean, that's really illuminating, and I think it sort of helped us along the way. I mean, I don't know if you wanted to stay for part B, because presumably it kind of rolls in.
Absolutely.
But Councillor Pemberton, are you proposing this item, or did you want to say a few words to?
I can propose it, Mr. Mayor. It's difficult really to add a huge amount more to what Nikki said. I think Nikki's given a really comprehensive update about what the Plastic Free community and Eco Friends are doing. So other than that, happy to propose.
Do we have any other comments on this? Yeah, absolutely, super. Any other comments on this before we go to a vote? All those in favour, please. Excellent. That's unanimous, and pleased we can do it this evening.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Super. All right, so moving on to item 4, a public question. Have any other questions? Yes, yeah, please feel free to go. The rest of the meeting will be illuminating, I'm sure.
I'm sure it is.
I'm sure you have other things you need to go. Great.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
See you later.
Thanks for coming. Item 5, to take as read and confirm as accurate the minutes of the meeting of the 27th of November. Councillor Jeffrey.
Mr. Mayor, so proposed.
Thank you, sir. Do we have a seconder there?
Second that, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Boyd. Any other comments on that? All those in favour? Thank you. It's unanimous. For the town clerk to provide and for members to request feedback on any matters arising therefrom. Do we have any matters arising? No? Okay, thank you. So, moving on to item 6, and me. So, yeah, this takes me back to the beginning of December, the 29th of November to be accurate, where we attended an excellent performing arts winter performance at Kennet, a very thought-provoking one, actually, very much driven by the students and touching on a number of really interesting political items. So that was certainly well worth attending. 1st of December, the Christmas lights. I mean, I think it really is one of the highlights for any mayor, but I was just so overwhelmed by the number of people that came out, the opportunity to both to bring young people from PALS, one of the charities I'm supporting this year, and we were also joined by members of Pride. You can see there on the right-hand side, kind of cementing the relationship that we've been building, the back group, over the course of the year. So it was a great evening and a really excellent turnout from the members of the public. And I'd like to sort of pass on my thanks to the events team as well for their usual amazing efforts in making that one of the highlights of our calendar. Moving on to the Saturday, of course, we had the Christmas market in the Broadway, and again, my thanks were we kind of had some requests about that market, which didn't come out until quite late in the year. I know the councillors were very keen to have a Christmas market, and I think Dawn in particular probably put a huge amount of effort into making that happen. And the stallholders I spoke to were all very pleased to be there. We had music from the Baptist Church, I think, and from Colash, and that was an excellent event too. I also joined the young people at the Mem Hall who were raising money for their trip to Borneo, and that was a really worthwhile event as well. Such enthusiasm for really going out there and doing great things to help people build schools and hospitals and so on, and very pleased to be part of that. And I even had a Barfield Handbell Ringers concert at St Mary's on the same day, so that was quite an action-packed event. That moving on to the Sunday and the Santa Fun Run. Yeah, delighted once again to be able to launch the runners off. I'm not sure how many do we have? 150, 200?
157, I think.
157, excellent. And was there with one of the youngest participants, and I think the oldest one I was introduced to was 93. So we had a whole range of ages taking part. But again, such a lovely community feel. So really pleased to be part of that. And although not right, about medals instead and chocolates. Yeah, so what else did we have during December? We had the Berkshire Music Trust, the maestros as well. Then went to a concert, which was excellent. And my own civic carol service on the Sunday, which had a good turnout. And I was pleased to be able to present the awards for the Christmas cards designs to the 3 winners of those. That photo there was actually the team at Co-op Funeral Care, who they were the mayor's winner of the Christmas window this year, and I dropped in to see them a little bit later and had a catch up. The lady with the fascinating hat is Jo. She's the new manager at the branch, but she's actually extremely community minded. She's very keen for us to use their building that faces down the Broadway for community activities. And also they've got a huge empty shed at the back which used to house 3 hearses in the old days. They keep the hearses somewhere else now, and she's actually interested in any ideas we might have for using that really good space at the back there. So that was good too. Francis Bailey, excellent Christmas Carol concert. And on the 12th of December, I joined the Mayor of Newbury and a number of others at the American Memorial at Greenham Common to mark the remembrance of the 2 accidents that occurred there in 1943, I believe it was. And those amazing American servicemen who paraded there through 10 minutes of the most torrential rain I could ever remember seeing, and they didn't flinch, but they came away absolutely saturated. And all the local dignitaries and mayors and so on hid underneath a tarpaulin and just darted out to put their wreaths in place and come back in the dry again. So special shout out to the 15th of December, we had the Mayor's Coffee Morning here. Not a great turnout, I have to say. It would have been nice to see a few more, but thank you to all the people that made wonderful cakes and edibles, which I certainly enjoyed, if not many other people did. So thank you for that. And on the 19th, that was a very busy day. I joined in with Councillor Jeffrey and a number of volunteers to plant trees along the allotments and in other places through the town. Just some photographic evidence there that I do know which way up to hold the tree when I'm planting it. But I'm not sure, Carly's looking on there, I'm not sure that she quite approves of the way I'm doing it. But, also made an award there to House of Cards, who won the People's Choice window competition. And so both the House of Cards and Co-op Funeral Care received special recognition for their Christmas displays this year. Moving on to 2024, and on the 13th of January, you can see Councillor Cotton there slicing through the banner to mark the 50th anniversary of West Berkshire Volunteer Service, and a really good recruitment fair they had this year with a corn exchange pact with local charities who were recruiting volunteers. And of course, Gary Paulson has indicated that after 25 years at the helm, he'll be stepping back this year. But yeah, I know he's done a remarkable job, and a lot of people at this table know him very well. And so I think it's certainly worth mentioning that that organisation is thriving due in no small part to his efforts and the amazing team that he's put together. 14th of January, now this was an interesting one. Community United Town by Volleyball Festival. This is something I've never been to before. I'm not sure how many people around the table probably have either. But this marks a certain time in the calendar where the rice crop and the sugar crop come into their own, and the local Tamil community had the boilers out. The photo here, I was actually given the honour of lighting the first boiler, and it was lovely to be involved in that. And I've learned a whole lot about the fact that they're made to boil over, and that's a symbol of good luck and so on. So that festival took place. There was dancing afterwards as well. It was a great thing to be part of. Then on the 18th, Thatcham Cancer Care Support Group. I don't know if you know about this body, but they're a really excellent group, and they're marking their 5th birthday, and again, very good turnout. And that's Morris from the Rotary there as well, who was helping to mark that occasion, and certainly good one to be part of. 26th of January, I joined the other mayors and chairs at West Berkshire to mark the Holocaust Memorial Day, and we had a rabbi leading the event, and a number of children from St Nicholas's School, and very poignant and well worth taking part in that event. You know, there are lots of different feelings in the political world at the moment, but it was very important, I think, to mark the Holocaust and to remember that. And of course, as we just heard, Plastic Free Thatcham, we threw ourselves into the unwrapping of groceries with aplomb, and that was great fun on Saturday. And well, we put together at least half a trolley full of unnecessary plastic, but it's very much the publicity, getting the message out, and reminding people to look at their groceries as they take them out the door. Which just leaves me to remind you all, if you don't have it in your diary already, to come to the bingo night on Friday. It's going to be lots of fun and really raising money for the mayor's charities. So why would you not come? If you haven't managed to find a simple excuse. So that brings me to the end of that. I suspect Councillor Adamantos is not feeling too well this evening, so we may need to skip over the next bit. That's that. Did anybody have any comments or questions on my report there? Oh, okay. Yes, we'll have a look through those. Yes. Very grateful to Suzanne for covering a number of events in December that I was not able to do. Notably, actually going into the hospital on Christmas morning and supporting us there. And I know she spent some time up on Crookham Hill with Councillor Jeffrey, trying to knock some sense into passing motorists, but not with a great deal of success from what I can gather, Councillor Jeffrey.
Definitely with some success while we were there. I think it's just a simple fact that I was absolutely amazed by how many people didn't understand the road closure meant, and how many people thought that road closures prevent their Land Rover from getting into vehicles. It was actually prevent water being sloshed into the Admiral's cottages and one other cottage that actually did flood.
Thank you. Yes, it's you know, for those of us I think that have been there and remember 2007 and the peak of water in the house, and there was absolutely nothing we could do to prevent that. That was all down to nature. But I think in the case of Crookham Hill and some other places recently, you know, houses would have been saved the trauma of flooding had it not been for yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I think that's that brings us to the end of the mayor's reports. So I'll move on to item 7, budget and precept is that Councillor Cole, I should imagine.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, the budget and precept before you has been recommended by F&GP. I would like, if I may, sir, to just pick out some salient points of the budget. The provision that we've got for next year allows us to continue with the highly praised programme of events. You mentioned yourself, sir, the Christmas lights, also the Family Day of Thatcham Festival, and some of the other smaller items as well that we have within the events calendar, which seem to be highly valued by our residents. So we felt it was important that we continued with those. United Service of Remembrance isn't taking place this year, but we will have another small event in the town centre, again to try and attract some more of our residents into the town centre to see the amazing range of independent shops that we have in there. The budget also doubles the amount that we have allocated on the safety surfaces underneath our playground equipment. To a certain extent, we're still suffering a little bit from long COVID, in that the playgrounds had a huge amount of use when we were in lockdown, which was marvellous. To an extent, we're still trying to play catch up, so we've actually doubled the amount that we will have to ensure that the equipment can be used safely. We're continuing with the existing hours for the toilets in the Broadway. Again, that's important, we feel, for the economic health of the town, as well as the physical health of some of our residents. We have got something new this year in the budget, although we did start it this year. It's a resource that we have to underwrite events run by third parties. The first one is actually the 10K run, which was at the instigation of Councillor Hart, and I know he and Councillors Pemberton, time to two, I believe, are very heavily involved in that. And then business as usual, with no cuts to the services or responsibilities that we have as a town council, in terms of the cemeteries, the allotments, the halls, the grounds maintenance, etc. And all the other services which make a huge difference to the residents. Plus, we are actually increasing this year, or planning to increase this year, the number of information leaflets and newsletters that go out to our residents. They're delivered to every house in Thatcham. And I know that there's always a sort of groundswell of, oh, people come off on the website. That actually excludes those, and I would probably count myself in this, who are not terribly IT literate, and actually excludes some of the categorising it, but some of the more elderly of our population who don't have access to computers, don't necessarily spend all day on a mobile phone. And then we've also allocated a very modest sum to improve the town centre with planting, additional plants, etc., flower baskets, etc. Just really, we want to create a bit of civic pride within the town, frankly. In addition, there are some specific items which do require some further investment. For many years, in fact, I think for every year bar one that I've been a councillor, which is now 13 years, or coming up 13 years, the precept has only been raised by the rate of inflation or less. The one exception was when we took over the playgrounds, which were previously run by West Berkshire, where the precept went up by 9.5%, purely and simply to take that on. The only problem with putting the precept up by less than the rate of inflation is that almost inevitably it increasingly puts strain on resources. And actually the strain that it's been putting on is on our staff. Now our staff have actually been amazing over the last few years, from COVID onwards, well, amazing beforehand, but from COVID onwards. But I've seen firsthand the strain that is actually putting on the things that we know we want to do as a town for the residents, which we can't because we don't have the staff to enable us to do it. So we commissioned a report from an organisation called the Local Council Consultancy, which made various recommendations on staffing. It's more than 20 years since we had an external audit, if you like, of the town council activities, not of the town council finances. So they came up with some recommendations on staffing. We have pared back on some of the recommendations in terms of numbers of hours and therefore costs, but we are looking to implement the majority of the recommendations, albeit that they will be spread over a period of time. Incidentally, one of the things that the consultancy did say is that our precept as a town council is actually lower than the average for town bar size. In fact, actually lower than most towns of our size. Specifically, we will have staffing to deal with the discussions, the consultations, the planning, etc., which will take place from lead on from the Hemingway report into the town centre. It's kind of a once in a generational opportunity, if we grasp it, to actually make a difference in the town centre. We had the Turley report about 13, 14 years ago, which kind of gathered dust somewhere in a drawer and was never fully implemented. The Hemingway report is turbocharging that again. Clearly, we need somebody to deal with that. That will also lead on to the potential for a neighbourhood development plan. Obviously, we've had the refusal of central government to allow West Berkshire to withdraw the local plan, which means there is, I guess, no doubt be fighting it. We will have potentially a development of 1,500 houses on in North East Thatcham. Now, whilst that's not down to us to be able to stop it, although we will make appropriate representations, if we had a neighbourhood development plan, that would actually enable us to track a lot more developer money if and when housing does take place, sufficient, I think, to pay for the cost of the neighbourhood plan officer many times over, given that level of housing. And even if that doesn't take place, we know housing is going to come in Thatcham. Sure as not, Father's Day will be having some housing which will take place in the town over the years. There are also a number of specific projects on the horizon, which are going to require a project manager. We have a potentially significant sum to repair the wall around St Mary's Churchyard, or parts of the wall around St Mary's Churchyard. That will take some considerable time and effort to make sure that we get A, we don't need to spend money that we don't need to spend, and B, that we get value for money when we do spend it. That's only one of several others, flooring at Burwood Centre being another one. So the Precept will rise. The figure that it will rise to is on the agenda of £108.99 per annum. We are mitigating that to an extent. The budget also proposes that we utilise town council reserves for about £24,000 of the additional expenditure. So in summary, Mr Mayor, the budget allows us to continue with the level of services that our residents have come to expect from us. Plus, it will enable us to have the correct staffing level to deal effectively with the challenges on the horizon. So when you are minded to take a recommendation or a proposal, Mr Mayor, I will be pleased to formally propose.
Thank you very much, Councillor Cole. A lot of work has gone into that, and we really do appreciate it. Do you have any questions for Dr. Shahar?
Yes, thank you. I'd like to say that I've been given the support that myself and fellow councillors obviously mentioned there, Justin and Petra, giving us the confidence to seed fund our event, which we haven't taken advantage of yet, I understand, due to the nature of being able to do our fundraising activities, etc. But we have formed a CIC, and we're very much on the way to a memorable event in April. So thank you very much for that to go through.
Thank you, sir. Councillor Jeffrey.
My name's Mayor. Well, my thanks very much to the leader. my thanks very much to the leader for taking us through the budget and for the things that we're going to be able to get done because of this budget. I'd like to address one particular element of it out of this rational town supporting budget. We are realistically expanding our staff size. We're not ballooning it. We're adding some limited capacity so that the town can get on and do the things that it wants to do and the things that we should be doing to support the town of our size. Having extra staff will have an effect, a beneficial effect, across every element of our town council activity. Principally, and I really pick up the I pick up the boomerang from Mike here. It is principally going to enable us to follow the concepts and the ideas that are coming out of Hemingway, potential developments and changes. The additional officer strength will permit us to develop the ideas, the potential projects that they are getting us to think about, such as invigorating the Broadway and the High Street, plus seeking to properly incorporate Brownmead and indeed the whole of this Brownsfield area into the town. It's not going to be done easily, it's not straightforward, it will involve a significant amount of money, and it will certainly involve a significant amount of intelligent officer time. That is what this budget is allowing us to do, is to bring appropriate people in, to extend hours for people with more than others, etc. We can have the greatest of ideas, Mr. Mayor. I know that we have some of the greatest of ideas, but to fulfill them, we need a bit of officer power. And the officer power does mean 100 seats, isn't it? This budget allows us to do just this, to get the right people in the right places, to be able to deliver proper services for our town. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Jeffrey. Only I've got Councillor Ross.
I obviously support this budget wholeheartedly. One of the things we do, amongst many things we do, are our events. And you know, that isn't frivolous in any way whatsoever. That helps blend our society, our town, into a community. We've been doing it well for many years, growing it. These events are now established in our calendar. And being mayor myself last year, the last municipal year, you noticed it yourself, Mr. Mayor. Things like this, the Christmas lights, can't be replicated. They take time, they take organisation, but don't we do them well? And therefore we invest into that, and people do pay their precept, council tax, but we invest that back in so the town has a sense of place, a sense of identity. Adding something like the 10K run, which I wish I was only 2 years younger, I might get out. But is something that, you know, again, adds something to the fabric of our town and builds out on that. We adopt, as Councillor Jeffrey says, the right staffing to support that, to have ambition for the town, and to some degree get us ready for a degree of expansion, whatever that expansion has to be. There are planning applications coming in, not just the North East Thatcham, also Coltrop. There are others coming in, small ones. There's one now being built out in Lower Way. There is pressure on the town, and we need to be able to integrate that, support those people, make them feel welcome. It's events that help do that. We maintain, and I know Councillor, what's your name again? Councillor Cole is very hot on making sure that we have appropriate reserves. And knowing myself as a councillor at West Berkshire, those reserves are under significant pressure. But we are in very, very safe hands here as our RFO, our clerk, leader, Councillor Cole, and the chairs make sure that the funds are there to provide that backstop, that safety net if things hit us unexpected. Never know when a black swan event might come along. And finally, the increase in the precept this year is doing quite a few things. It's certainly helping us play catch up. It's certainly helping us play catch up in terms of not necessarily always being able to keep pace with inflation. That's the thing that can really hurt us. And so to put it in perspective, this is the figure that really I think, you know, just brings it alive. That for a Band D, I think it's Band D, a Band D household, we are asking them to find us 3.5 pence per day extra. And for that, we provide enhanced events, great services, allotments, cemeteries, playgrounds, and in fact, in our play areas. I did a tour around, and that number of councillors did it with me, and we saw some of the breakup of the services. We have to repair those. We may be able to repair them in different ways and different material, but we've got to keep them safe for our children. So seriously, when I look at 3.5 pence a day increase, I think that is tremendously good value for money for what this council provides to the people on Thatcham Line, or part of my support. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor. Very well spoken. Do we have any other comments? In which case, I'll go back to Councillor Cole to propose things.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. May I formally propose the budget to full council?
Thank you, sir. Do we have a seconder for that, Councillor? Thank you, sir. All those in favour? Thank you. That looks unanimous. Thank you very much indeed. Now moving on to item 8, approval and adoption of committee minutes. To receive and consider adoption from the following committees: Finance and General Purposes of the 22nd of January.
May I so propose, please, Mr. Mayor?
You may be, sir. Do we have a seconder? Thank you for that. All those in favour? Thank you. Recreation and Amenities of the 11th of December. Councillor McCann.
Thank you, Chair. I propose that we accept and adopt this minutes, Chair.
Thank you, sir. I have a seconder. Thank you, Councillor Jeffrey, putting in great work there. All those in favour? Thank you. Planning and Highways of the 12th of December and indeed the 16th of January. Councillor Pike.
Can I propose that we adopt both of those sets of minutes?
Thank you. Seconder. Councillor Templeton, thank you. All those in favour?
That's what Chairman. Sorry.
So you don't have Jeffrey's knees. Yeah. Staff Committee of the 16th of January. I'll propose that one myself. Do I have a seconder? All those in favour? Thank you. Excellent. So moving on, item 9, recommendation from the Planning and Highways Committee. Following consideration of the document, I had 6 inspection matters, issues and questions and written statements in relation to examination of the local plan. And before I take it any further, I'll pass over to Councillor Pike on that.
So I will try to keep my presentation or introduction shorter than the documents themselves. So the local plan, I have to admit I didn't count it, but the documentation is between 10 and 20,000 pages. What we're considering now, that has now been submitted to the inspector, as we've already heard. West Berkshire Council was instructed not to withdraw that. In parallel, an inspector has been appointed, and he has asked a number of written 2 documents asking questions to West Berkshire Council for matters of clarification. He's now issued documents to all of the respondents to the Regulation 19, inviting us to make comments. And that document is only 63 pages long. And so that's 70 questions, I think. And it's basically targeted at people for people to expand comment on matters that they've already commented on. It's not seeking new representations. Obviously, we made fairly extensive representations, and there are 2 deadlines which we have to meet. He has set. There are the questions fall into 2 parts. The first set of questions, I think it's the 16th of February. It's the deadline, and the second set of questions is the 22nd of March. And because when we consider this at Planning and Highways, we felt that we would like to avoid the need to call an extraordinary meetings of full council in order to approve that, our responses. And as they're very technical matters anyway, I'm going to request that full council delegates the responsibility to Planning and Highways to submit those representations. Just to say there that the first set is dealing with the general matters. There's a very important question there about the duty to cooperate, which is a legal thing which is particularly important in the progress of a plan or not. And that's a matter on which we'll be commenting. There are some other legal matters. In the second tranche of questions to answer, there is a whole section on North East Thatcham. And if you read through those questions, you will find that they are matters on which the inspector has reservations or concerns based on what he's read and is seeking further clarification. And we have already commented on a lot of those, and it would be appropriate for us to do further. So the document that I wrote contains an introduction and a table of all of the questions and a starting of the development of the key points that we would answer. I had hoped to develop further for this meeting, but that wasn't possible. So I suggest that we have an agenda item on the extraordinary meeting just to note the further development and then leave it to Planning and Highways to consider how to respond. I think, frankly, that it will be more effective for us to focus on the key questions rather than to answer everything that might be relevant to us, because a lot of them we might have a comment to make, but would have a big impact on the outcome. We should focus on the things that like to have an effect. And the inspector has in fact very specifically said he doesn't want us to repeat what we've already said because he's already read it all fully, he says. So with that, I'd like to propose that we delegate responsibility for developing the response to Planning and Highways, and that will be spread between the next two meetings for the two tranches of the questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Piker. I guess it's probably with great relief that we might be delegating this to Planning and Highways. Do I have a seconder for that proposal? Thank you.
I would like to say, Mr. Mayor, I think the councillor should be grateful to Councillor Pike for the huge amount of work and expertise and knowledge that he holds. I was on a meeting, Zoom meeting, and one of the residents of another parish was actually a planning expert. And Councillor Pike could most certainly hold his own in terms of knowledge of planning regulations, etc. So I think we have a huge debt of gratitude because there are things in there that I would read, frankly. So I would like to second Councillor Pike.
Councillor Stevens.
Yes, I'd like to echo what Councillor Coles just said. But I would also like to mention, as I did at the Planning and Highways meeting, our thanks go to Councillor David Lister, who is no longer councillor, because he worked with Councillor Pike to produce all the material. And we heard you're not allowed at this stage to raise any new material. So if they hadn't found those things to put in to the inspector, we wouldn't be able to now come back again and refer to them. So I'd like it minuted, please, that we as a council thank both Councillor Pike and Councillor Lister.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Simpson. Yes, we owe a big debt of gratitude both to Councillor Pike and to Councillor Lister for the preparation of the Councillor Pike.
Make an observation there, thank you, that as Councillor Stevenson said, that bodies that haven't responded cannot now introduce material in their name, but there may be local bodies, particularly in relation to education, that might have something to say, and I think it would be appropriate that we would consider including it in our response, if obviously subject to review, if it's an area that we have already commented on and are therefore entitled to make comments relating to that. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so no other comments on that. We had a second. Yes, good. Can I have all those in favour then, please? Thank you. Unanimous. So moving on to item 10, to note that Christine Rice has resigned as town councillor with effect from the 16th of January. And obviously I'd like to add there our thanks to Christine, who's been a councillor for some years and been extremely conscientious and very approachable as a councillor. And I think she'll be very much missed. She's stepping down for personal reasons, but I think we should know that it will be a hard place to fill. She's been an excellent member of this body. Councillor Jeffrey.
Mr. Mayor, I would like to second the words you just used. I think you may have Have you cribbed my notes? I think that Christine has been an eminently diligent councillor. She has been on this council now for a number of years. Council now, but she was on council for a number of years and took her role very seriously. And I think that this council owes her a debt of gratitude. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So this is notice of the vacancy was published on the 18th of January, and West Berks Council's electoral services managers advised that the expiry date for electors to claim a by-election has been calculated as the 7th of February. Following resignations of vacancy on the events committee, which council may wish to seek to appoint or defer until fulfilment of the council vacancy. Councillor Brooks.
If I may return, I wonder if the council is minded to write to former councillor Christine Rice, thanking her for her service since 2019.
Absolutely, that's a very good idea.
It is a very good idea.
Yes, we'll do that. Councillor Jeffrey.
Mr. Mayor, there is that final line there about whether or not we wish to seek to appoint or defer until the fulfilment of the council vacancy. May I be proposed that we defer until we've actually got the new member on board.
Okay, thank you. So sorry, I have Councillor Boyd first, then Councillor Cole.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Contrary to Councillor Owen Jeffries, I would like to put myself forward for that vacancy.
Okay. Councillor Cole.
Very nice.
I changed what I was going to say. I was going to second Councillor Jeffrey's proposal, but when someone as evident as a former mayor wishes to put himself forward for the events committee, I feel it would be churlish, if not downright rude of me, to second and indeed not snap his hand off. So I would like to second Councillor Boyd's own nomination for himself.
Oh. A technical point here, Councillor Jeffrey, as you'd originally proposed that, would you like to withdraw it?
I'm not going to withdraw.
Thank you. So we have a seconder for Councillor Boyd. Can I have all those in favour, please? Thank you. So item 11, Community Award Panel. Well, this is one of those nice things we do each year to mark the achievements and hard work of the volunteers and the champions in our midst. There are categories for community contributor, environmental champion, inspiring young person, and lifetime achievement. And I believe that nominations are already open and advertised on the website and on the 25th, 25th of March, I believe we'll be looking to meet to discuss those nominations. And am I right, Madam Clerk, we need to appoint a couple of additional persons for that group. Do we have any volunteers for the Community Awards panel?
Can I check what time the meeting is on? Do you not know?
I think we were going for a 5 o'clock one because it's if we go for the Monday, because that's before the full counts. So. Indeed you can. Thank you very much. Do we have a seconder for Councillor? Amazing how many more seconders we have than self-proposed. Excellent. So yes, all those in favour of thank you very much. Do we want one more? Do we have one more? Councillor Cole.
I'd be more than happy to put my name forward, Mr. Providing it's not the 28th of March. because that's my wife and my daughter's birthday.
Oh,
I would get killed. So well, it's not the 28th of March. I've done it.
No, I think we definitely are going for the 25th. If possible. So, yeah. And I think Councillor McCann was seconding that one. Yeah. All those in favour of Councillor Cole? Thank you very much indeed. Really wonderful. So we race on to reports. Item 1 is from to receive a note reports from Councillors Shipperhart and Pemberton, who were at the council surgery on the 2nd of December. Seems a while ago now. Comments on that one, Councillor?
Yes, so thank you, Mr. Mayor. So, brief update from me. Often these surgeries, people will sort of come to us with individual issues, but there were a couple at this particular surgery that I think one I mentioned just purely because they relate to issues with traffic around the town. So, obviously the items are listed on the sheet that members can see in front of them. Firstly, issues with vehicles parking on Northfield Road close to the traffic lights with A4 is becoming a particular issue. I've noticed myself, you can often find sort of 4 or 5 cars length on the left-hand side of the road as you're looking down to the A4, which makes it extremely difficult to actually queue waiting for the lights to change. We did get a response back from West Berkshire Council, which was encouraging. There are various things that we can obviously do in terms of traffic restrictions, whether they're temporary or permanent. Obviously, that will involve consultations. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. But there may be things that Thames Valley Police can do as well, because if vehicles are parked dangerously or inconsiderately, there's actions that can be taken as well. As one of the ward members for that part of the town, I'm quite happy to follow up with both West Berkshire Council and Thames Valley Police. And again, I'm more than happy to keep council updated on that as well. The other item at the bottom relating to the use of the relief road that goes around Thatcham, a large increase in lorries using that section of road between the Francis Bailey School roundabout and garden centre near to Turnpike Road. I don't know if more lorries are using that relief road as an alternative to go through the A4, but we know that traffic is an issue going through the town. And it's also an issue for residents living close to the relief road, because there does seem to be a bit of an increase in lorries using that. Obviously the response back from West Berkshire Council on that was a little bit more dismissive, but again, it's something that I am happy to pursue. It may be that we can deal with that through weight restrictions at certain times or certain days. Again, I know that that's something that other members present tonight are aware of. But again, as the actual location that's listed on this query was the Heath Lane section of the relief road, which is in the northeast, but it does actually affect my ward as well, as the road curves around at Small Way. So, I think we've all got an interest in looking into that. So again, happy to pursue the West Berkshire Council.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Councillor, please.
Thank you very much, Chair. Yeah, so the relief road is very much something which is close to my heart. So about 3 years ago, my wife and I were driving past the Regency Hotel when an articulated lorry hit one of the trees overhanging, and then the branch hit our car, hit our bonnet, causing about £300 worth of damage. We were lucky that it didn't go straight through the windscreen. So that particular road is not suitable for articulated lorries. And in fact, today I saw a double length vehicle with logs which must have been, I don't know, 50 feet long, going round the roundabout, coming down from Coldash, turning right to go past the Regency. So that particular road is not, in my opinion, not suitable for that type of traffic, which is, for whatever reason, using a bit of a rat run potentially to avoid the proper A4. So yeah, if we can do as much as we possibly can to make sure the appropriate traffic is using the relief road rather than going down as it should be onto the A4, which is really important for society. Something which caused damage about 3 years ago to my own vehicle in appropriate traffic.
Thank you. Councillor Jeffrey.
Mr. Mayor, thank you very much indeed. I remember Councillor Coughlin telling me about that event at the time. Just one detail. There might be people in this council who call me a pedant, but it's pedantry with a purpose. It's not a relief road. It was built as, and is called, Thatcham Distributor Road, and it was literally in order to permit cars to get in and out of various estates that were being built up from Francis Bailey and so on, all the way round. It is absolutely not a road which is suitable for, nor I believe permitted for, through traffic of HGVs. That's maybe something that we need to check out with highways as to what the technical situation is. But it's most certainly the recommended route for HGVs, and they shouldn't be using it.
Thank you. Right. Any more on item 1? Item 2, the surgery attended by Councillor and Jeffrey on the 6th of January. Councillor Jeffrey.
Mr. Mayor, I would obviously have given way to Councillor Cotton, but he's claimed to be ill and can't make it today. I think probably the most interesting thing to say is that I've always been very much in favour of running council surgeries and running them regularly. We had 3 paying customers or unpaying customers in the hunt up. We had a very, very interesting time talking to the police who were there with us. So we covered quite a bit of ground, quite a bit of territory, but literally we had 3 members of the public, and I think they spoke to us more out of sympathy that we were there. They had really pressing issues that they wanted to take up with us. So maybe that might be one specific date that we don't bother in the future, and with the January one, it was a bit nippy, it wasn't too bad, but we didn't really cover all of the business with members of the public.
Councillor Cotton.
Thank you, Chair. So the point I'm going to make is probably to do with previous council surgery. So one of the big issues which I do believe needs to be cracked down is the use of scooters on the main road. In fact, this evening when I was driving down Park Lane, I had a youth coming straight up the road with no lights on a scooter. So if there'd been any traffic coming the other way, that youth would have been knocked off. It is a bit of a scourge. I know we've made representation to Kennett School for education, but I think more has to be done. It's not legal, they're not insured. When I had my own surgery back in October, the police did confiscate a scooter from 2 youths, got their parents involved, but there still more needs to be done. They are scourge to people who use pass, and in my opinion, it will only be a matter of time before someone gets seriously hurt, either using a scooter or seriously hurt a pedestrian. So, if we could do everything we possibly can with Thames Valley Police and also educating with schools, etc., that they should not be used.
Thank you. Yes, too many of us have had near misses for those, I think. Sorry, Councillor.
Yeah. I just wanted to echo Councillor Cottingham's words there. Having a retail premises on the high street, I regularly see youths on scooters and youths on push bikes going the wrong way down the high street, cars coming out between buildings, and I myself have nearly had several accidents with youths on the path and on the roads on e-scooters, on push bikes. It won't be long. I think it'll be very soon that there'll be some tragic accident.
Councillor Benson.
I just wanted to know, it's not just use, I would say the last week I've seen 5 to 6 approximately. I know twice of adults, so it's not just the youth that are adults are doing it.
Okay, yes.
As well.
Okay, yes, that's certainly one to keep in mind. I think it's not going away anytime soon. Okay, if there are no other comments on those, we'll move on to reports from West Berks councillors. Councillor Brooks.
Thank you. I've got 3 things to draw your attention to, and other district councillors may want to add. Firstly, it's not a secret here that the district council, the administration there, sought to bring a motion forward to make the planning inspector where we wish to withdraw them. And at 3 o'clock on the day of that special council meeting called, we received a direction from the DLUC and the Minister, the Rowley, saying not being able, by instruction not to go ahead with that motion, that debate, and that determination. You're aware of this. I'm just making sure that all of you are, I suppose, and I'm reporting it formally to the council. We will now make representation to the inspector, examination through our officers. It's fair to say, it's a secret, and our officers cannot turn on their heads. Our officers presented that plan, submitted that plan, and it would be completely inappropriate to now ask them to go and say they're supporting the local plan. Bear in mind, it's not about supporting it now, it's about process. And I think we're extremely well placed through Councillor Pike. His knowledge, his studying of this situation to be able to gather this country. We have next week what they call a peer review. And we have 2 senior councillors coming from the council, the leader of Richmond Borough Council and a senior councillor of County Council, plus 4 senior officers, chief executives and other councillors coming in and doing a 4-day really concentrated effort to look across the authority and see what we're doing well and perhaps improve. So it's a short, sharp burst. We felt as a new administration to do this early in our 4-year tenure, and that is next week Tuesday. Finally, then, the thing that's exercising the most, and the news about it, we can't really give you any information about the budget that we are proposing. But Councillor Cottingham in particular, as the lead finance portfolio there, an enormous amount of work to get that budget to balance. It's fair to say we began with the thick end of about a 14 million deficit or challenge, which puts in perspective some smaller budgets, not decrying the issue you had here, Councillor Cole, but we have brought that down to a position where we will launch our paperwork, our budget, it will balance. It has avoided some significant efficiencies, cuts by another name, but it is embargoed until but a lot of hard work gone in on it. And watch this space as the press start to, can't we go heads up tonight? As the press start to think about it. So, happy to take questions.
Thank you, Councillor Brooks. Any more on my spots? All right, thank you very much indeed.
Mayor, can I offer my apologies? I had to go and run a rehearsal. For Fiddler on the Roof, just in case you haven't heard, seats still available for all performances. My apologies, Mr. Mayor.
Look, I
Yeah, I think most of us know.
Okay, so we move on to reports from outside bodies, and we have quite a lot of them now. I'd say it's probably in everyone's interest to keep them fairly brief if we can. So, starting with Berkshire Association of Local Councils.
Thank you. So I was co-opted by both the nomination from the Town Council and attended my both an induction meeting and first committee meeting. There's several new members of the executive, and in summary, we're trying to increase the relevance of the Berkshire Association to its member authority, member councils, most of which are in fact in the west part of Berkshire, partly because the west part of Berkshire is more completely parish than the east. And that will be more than just the training courses that you've heard about in the last few days. Thank you. But do go on those. They are worthwhile and free.
Thank you, sir. Dementia Friendly West Berks. Anybody? Councillor Stevens.
Yes, I only wanted to report that our last meeting was face to face and in this chamber. And the group were very pleased to be able to use this location. So thank the Town Council for allowing us to meet here. And so you have to say that we are a very dementia friendly part of the country.
Thatcham Library, Councillor Schumacher.
Yes, the Friends Thatcham Library are doing extremely well. We've been looking to purchase some new equipment for the library and come up with some different ideas. So watch this space. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Pike for Greenham and Crookham.
Thank you. So there was to have been a meeting of the Commission about 10 days ago, and that had to be postponed until tomorrow, which unfortunately I can't attend. Most of the work of the Commission is to do with the management of the common and the competing activities, which I won't go into here. I'll just highlight two major events which are coming up. First one is a celebration of D-Day, led by Newbury Town Council, but with other parties involved, and you might consider that may be something worth considering. And also the 25th anniversary of the Common. I'll pass those on to the events committee.
Thank you. Yes, the events committee are already aware of the 80th celebrations, and I believe John's looking into that at the moment to give some options to the events committee as to how they should proceed with it. I think Worthy would like to say something about Councillor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, as the chairman, it hasn't met, but I can say that we are making progress in getting in terms of records for the master plan and for that to go out to tender, get consultants in to develop that. So that's been rather stuck for some months, but is making progress. The master plan being, how will the field be used in years to come? I understand before Councillor Pike jumps up that we're getting a few very bits of behaviour in terms of parking around there, things that probably might have been about to tell you. If he takes that offline with me, we'll see what we can do.
Phil starts. Councillor Pennington.
Hello, I met with Start earlier in January, and then they've got some training for their volunteers. Fortunately, been invited to attend that, which will be interesting. They've also got a quiz coming up in March, I believe. I'll be putting the word out, and hopefully one can join me.
Thank you very much. Can I leisure centre JSC? Anybody any news on that one?
Yes, nothing to report as of yet.
Okay, thank you. Lady Frances Whitcomb's Foundation.
Mr. Mayor, I was looking across and thinking of the highly intelligent Councillor Bench at the heart to give you a report, and he looked at me and waved his hand. I don't know how many people have, but Lady Frances Whitcomb is quite an old charity that provides money to support Sunday schools and youngsters who are you know, I think in the old days it's particularly apprentices, but now typically it's time to get appropriate school books and financial support to individual youngsters and those going to university and so on. It meets, it covers the old parish of Thatcham, so we include places like Bucklebury and so on, which are all the old parish of Thatcham. And it is getting longer this year and meets twice a year.
There's probably not much to say about Plastic Free Thatcham that hasn't already been said, but
like the excellent presentation that we received in my
thank you. The allotment club.
As you can understand, it's quite quiet. So I'm not seeing it at the moment. So I did go to the last meeting in December, and I think they're starting again. So.
Flood Forum and SWMP, I can report that well, work on the north and east alleviation schemes is proceeding well. Things are a little bit more complicated around the Memorial Field, I guess, and lots going on in those areas. Discussions underway about compensation and the intervention of sporting them, and I guess things seem to be proceeding according to plan, and the proposal around the cricket club will be covered in the next meeting. So yeah, things are going forwards, and we're expecting to see some progress on that scheme. If people regard it as progress, I do, but I know some don't. The Memorial Foundation, Councillor Cole, say that there are continuing issues regarding the flood defences. They're thinking about little else at the moment. So that takes us on to the Nature Discovery Centre. Not much has happened there, although I do talk from time to time to Steve and Hazel informally. I do believe I heard the other day that Steve Johnson is moving on as manager of the Discovery Centre, which is a great shame, but I imagine there'll be a replacement there to catch up with Sean. Which brings us to the parish hall.
A lot of work goes in from Councillor Pike, particularly myself, and Everton has come on as secretary. Chrissy Taylor-Watson does a terrific job as treasurer and booking clerk. It's in pretty good health financially. Lots of good work done by Simon on the guttering. I won't get into too much detail, but you know, it's all about the fabric of the building down there. And during the course of this year, we spent nearly £23,000 on complete rewiring and a new boiler. So there's some significant costs, but I think we're in pretty good shape, except we now need to replenish that money that we've had to pay out to get our reserves back where they need to be. But we're doing a new website through Nick Young. We like to put a modem in there so it's got Wi-Fi. We are getting on top of it. There's always going to be work to be done on that hall, but I like to feel that in the 18 months we've been involved, things have, not just because we've been involved, but you know, there's focus on it.
Thank you, Councillor Brooks, and yeah, thank you for picking up the parish hall and steering it in the right direction, as it seems we certainly have. Thatcham Relief in Need charity. Councillor Cole asked me to say business as usual, so not much going on there. Thatcham Support and Welfare Society, Councillor Huntington, back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So the society is growing exponentially since the start of this municipal year. The number of grant applications that are coming in is far greater than what it was at the start of that period, which is good news, obviously, for the people that need that help, and also the society as well that has cash in the bank. So I'm really pleased to report that obviously things are moving in the right direction. Some of the issues that the society is working through at the moment is working out exactly what people we can help and where. So in the past, when there was more money to rent out, we could be a little bit liberal in terms of where Thatcham started and ended. But as I said, increased pressure on the finances, you know, that conversation has to be thought about a little bit more. In terms of some of the issues that we're seeing, the kind of bread and butter of the grants, things like carpets and curtains, people that are moving into private rented accommodation or housing associations. Some of the issues that we have been seeing recently, for example, are issues around if there are public health issues with vulnerable customers in housing association properties, who's responsible for what, where does the housing association's obligations start and stop. And also as well, I'm really sorry to report, you know, the scourge of road traders. We have come across some people that have applied for grants where workmen have been around to property individuals, promised to do work, taking the money and not doing it. So it's something that I think we just need to be aware of. It's not a new issue, but definitely something to keep an eye on. All members of the chamber are members and volunteers of various groups where we come into contact with the people, and just ask that we sort of keep an eye on these kind of things happening.
Thank you. Councillor Brooks.
Probably goes without saying to everyone around the table, my wife has started volunteering at the credit project. I have to tell you, it is a fantastic facility. The community furniture project on Cambridge Road, really, if you don't know what it means to try and support that organisation, go there. I'm telling you, it's terrific.
Thank you for that. Actually, talking about road traders and so on, I noticed the other day HUK does an excellent booklet on scamming and how to spot scammers and so on, which I think is a booklet that may well be useful to recommend to people. Cricket club, which have to look that way, not that way, don't they?
Yeah, thank you very much. Well, I was going to mention, which you've already alluded to, that the cricket club did meet last week to discuss the compensation for the loss of facilities, and that will be forthcoming as and when we know about it.
Thank you, sir. Volunteer bureaus. Which first of all, we don't have a council vote on. Okay. No problem. Thatcham Youth, do you have anything on that?
Yes, we met for the AGM last week, and we were just discussing prices and also just certain things in regards to volunteers. We've got a couple of people coming up. They want to increase the numbers that can go into it, so the waiting list is super long. So we had to agree on numbers and safety at the same time. And just discussing what's going to happen, because the national lottery funding runs out next year after their 5-year. So then they've got to think about what we can do for the next 5 years. They may not necessarily get it from national lottery, so we had a grant allowed.
Thank you. We've got schools, Germany, so I guess we don't have anything there. Volunteer centre.
Since the last meeting in this chamber, I haven't met.
Thank you. Anything from the Heritage Forum, Councillor Jeffrey?
Continue to do its excellent work with the blue plant and all the rest of it. I don't think much else for me to say at this particular moment.
Thank you. So let's skip over the Suicide Prevention Action Group and West Berkshire Therapy Centre, Councillor.
Chair, members may know this is all about the ambition of the therapy centre to build a hydrotherapy pool to the west of our brain matching swamp. They have now put a proposal in which is private at this stage, but Councillor Jeffrey, Councillor Stevenson and myself met with their property at West Berkshire Council and the legal department to understand what covenants we need to satisfy and the general ownership in order to see a way forward for this project to go back to the High Court and say this can work under these conditions. That's being worked up. Once we can meet with them, and I'm expecting us to meet within about 4 weeks, we can give them hopefully, it's not complete yet, but hopefully comfort to be able to go out and say we have a principal agreement for the land. We'll have to come here, but I accept that, we all accept that. We're going to get the legals right in terms of the covenants and the ability to use land in a slightly different way. And that if we can give them that comfort because we've got no obvious roadblocks, they can go and fundraise. Shouldn't be doing that until we can give them at least a very, almost a night green light to go in. But since the clerk is looking at me very grim intensity there, nothing will be done or agreed until it has been through Thatcham Town.
Thank you, Councillor Woods. Oh, which brings us to the end of the list. So before you disappear, just to remind you, if you haven't yet decided whether you're coming to the bingo evening on Friday evening, one detail I forgot to mention was that our guest caller is Councillor Ian Cottingham. You're a celebrity in these matters, I gather. So, Mike, I add, I'm coming on my birthday.
Yeah.
Oh. I really
Do you want to pay?
appreciate that.
Yes, please.
Sorry, with that, thank you very much.